Ian Wright is one of those prolific strikers England's produced over the past 30 years. He's an exceptional pundit, and he's also spoken very freely in recent years about childhood trauma. And that's the topic of today's video in Sports Science Hacks, where we're going to speak about what we can learn from the childhood of Ian Wright. Number one, it's really crucial that you find yourself a good mentor in life. Ian Wright's spoken very openly about the relationship with his mother Nesta, where he was abused both physically and verbally. He said that he can't remember being hugged or feeling love as a child, and how alone he felt as well. And secondly, he only learnt the word termination from his mum because she used the phrase so often, wishing that he'd been aborted. He's also spoken about a relationship with his stepfather, who came into his life when he was around about 5 years old. His stepfather would make Ian Wright and his brother face against the wall away from the television when Match of the Day would come on. Ian Wright has stated that he remembers being so close to the wall and how unnecessary and cruel that was. And also, when you're that young, it just hurts, and it's something you don't forget for a long time. But luckily, Ian Wright had a great mentor, his primary school teacher, Mr Pigden. Mr Pigden had a great impact on Ian Wright as a kid, giving him responsibility as a milk monitor and also collecting registers from teachers. Mr Pigden also spent time with Ian Wright away from class, helping him with his reading and writing. And thirdly, Mr Pigden used the right level of discipline, rewarding good behaviour, but also if Ian Wright didn't behave in class, he wasn't allowed to play football. And Ian Wright has said that Mr Pigden was the first main imposing male figure in his life, trying to guide him on the right road. So it's really crucial you can see here what a good mentor can do for you growing up. Secondly, it's also very important that you open up to people about your feelings. Ian Wright had a fantastic career, starting as a professional with Crystal Palace, getting a big move to Arsenal where, before Thierry Henry, he was a record goal scorer for Arsenal. But, despite his Premier League goals, his disciplinary record was really poor, getting 52 yellow cards in only 213 Premier League appearances. Many of his performances were fueled by anger, including famous spats with Peter Schmeichel, and also getting in trouble in 1999 for trashing a referee's dressing room after being sent off for West Ham. And when speaking about his approach to games as a professional footballer, he stated that he was always on edge, and it was a childhood trauma that fueled him and made him too angry going into games. But in recent years, he's spoken about the benefits of going to therapy, saying that he's able to go back and let people know what he was going through. And also he can try to apologise and make people understand that he was just losing it in the moment. Ian Wright is a family man and adopted his eldest son Sean in his early 20s. And he's gone on to say that if he didn't have such a disturbing time with his stepfather, he probably would have adopted Sean. And he didn't want any of his kids not to feel loved. He didn't want his kids to feel the way he felt as a child. So what have we learned from Ian Wright in this short video? Well, firstly, it's very crucial that you find yourself a good mentor. Secondly, reach out for help. Now this could be a friend, family member, an external person, whoever that may be, reach out and speak to someone if you're watching this and struggling in life. And finally, turn a negative into a positive. Ian Wright clearly had some serious childhood trauma, but that didn't make him a bad dad. He learned from the process and became a very loving father. Okay, thank you for tuning into this video. I've got some other videos as well related to mental health and child poverty and struggles. I recommend you give them a watch. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, please get in touch with me on Instagram at Sports Science Hacks. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I'll speak to you again soon.